Yo, what's up? It's your boy Dizzy Vibes back again on Vibe CTRL, where we keep the culture talking and the facts balanced. So today's video, we talking about a man who turned hip hop into a weapon of truth. A man who never needed a label, never needed the radio, and never switched up. We talking about Immortal Technique, a Harlem-raised rapper who fought demons, the industry, and the system, and then ended up winning his own kind of freedom. This one right here was a personal one that I wanted to do. I'm gonna be real, I wasn't a fan of Immortal Technique, like listening to him, but I had like a reaction channel when I was like 15 and I reacted to his song Dance with the Devil, and I feel like it's not enough videos even out about him and his life and about like the stuff that he doing, because he really doing a lot of positive stuff today. And I feel like he was going off truth and not trends, and he still got a crazy legacy that people still wondering about today. But before we get into this, I need y'all to like, comment, subscribe so we can keep going through this algorithm, man. All right, let's get it.
Russian mafia over ya, but even they know what it's like when you fighting for Svoboda. So whether Slavic or Islamic, vodka, gin tonic, drunken fantasies are cool, son, but here's the grim logic.
Felipe Andreas Coronel was born in Lima, Peru, 1978, right in the middle of the chaos. The country is at war itself. It was going through government corruption, poverty, and the rise of a shining path, and it was a group that had the streets like on fire. His family would end up fleeing to the United States and landing in Harlem, New York, but it was the 80s. Crack era, NYPD on every corner. It was a battlefield of poverty and survival, but that's where Felipe would end up becoming Immortal Technique. He once said Harlem taught him how to fight, how to think, and how to never bow down to power. And you can feel this in every verse that he has written. Technique will end up going to Hunter College High School, one of the smallest schools in New York, but he was surrounded by people like Lin-Manuel Miranda, Chris Hayes, and other soon-to-be famous names. Even in this, he stood out. He was brilliant, angry, disciplined, but still defiant. He would later admit that he was a bully to some of these people that I had named, and he even later apologized to Lin-Manuel. He ended up saying that he was young and angry, and he made peace with some of the people that he had hurt. And this just showed a level of accountability in hip-hop that we don't see nowadays. This would end up shaping his music, like going on forward, going from rage to reflection.
That question is Immortal Technique.
Yes,
and Miranda.
people want to know.
So
Jill Stein's boy, Immortal Technique.
I went to high school, and Felipe Coronel, who's Immortal Technique, was 1 year above me. Lin-Manuel Miranda was 1 year below me. Lin and I were very close because we did theater together.
Right.
Felipe was, Lin described, like Felipe was kind of a school bully back in the day.
Right.
But, I mean, like, I have nothing but, like, I have no ill will for the guy. Like,
Right.
people do things when they're 17 that are not like who they are.
Come on.
And the
He
guy's,
hasn't even developed yet.
he's also had an incredible career. I mean, totally incredible career. But yes, what Lin said, the specific thing that they would do on the yard was they would make people sing Bucktown. That was what people were made to.
After high school, Technique would end up going to Penn State and Barrett College, and he ended up studying political science, but his anger kept following him. And one day, he ended up getting into a fight, got arrested, and served some time. And instead of wasting time away, he studied everything from Malcolm X to Frantz Fanon. He said prison taught him more than any school could. And then he wrote there what later would become Revolutionary One. It would be like his philosophy for his career, showing his freedom, rebellion, and his knowledge of power. And then when he got out, he hit the streets with nothing but a notebook full of lyrics and a mission. He didn't want a label. He hit open mics, sold CDs, and tried to build his empire from the ground up. He ended up starting Viper Records so nobody could censor his vision. And then came Revolutionary Volume 1. And this tape was raw, underground, and unapologetic. Songs like Industry Revolution, Positive Balance blended the streets with that college politics. But one song, Dance with the Devil, changed everything. And this was like a mortal horror story about a young man's deceit and see evil. It was too dark for the radio, too graphic for MTV, but too powerful to be ignored. It was one of hip-hop's most haunting cautionary tales. And this track seemed to not want to fade away. It's like one of the ghosts of hip-hop. It's one of the most darkest stories told on the beat. A kid named Billy Jacobs ended up wanting to join the street life, and once he committed a crime, evil destroyed him. And in the end, the kid in the story realized the person that was his victim would be his own mother, and he ended up taking his own life. But people always think like this was a real story. I even did when I first had heard this song and not knowing who Immortal Technique was. I'm like, is this a real story? I'm like, he did this because he's talking about it from the perspective of the dude. And he later said that it wasn't based on a real person. It was really just like a metaphor of like what could happen when you trade your soul for validation.
Ask me all the time, is the story real? Is it real? If you come to Harlem, I can take you to the building where it happened. Now, obviously, I changed certain things in the story. I never raped a woman, I've never killed a woman, thrown her off a building. But I needed to take parts of the true story. The reason why nobody has ever come after me about it is because the people that were involved all started dying, one by one. One of them got hit by a car. Another one got killed because he got beef with other people, and they killed his son to make him come to the funeral, and then they killed him. Listen, Holmes, revenge is a forest, right? You think you're going out in one way and coming out the other? No, you're not. They killed him and they killed his son. Then another person went to jail and he happened to not make it, because, hey man, homie, sometimes you go to jail, you get in an argument with the wrong fool, and you're getting picked apart in that line. Sometimes you got a lot of heart, Holmes. Maybe too much.
And this song will go on to shock the world. Like I said, even today, some fans will be saying it'll be going too far, and some fans to say it's genius. But either way it go, that song has cemented him with others. And then 2 years later, he would end up dropping Revolutionary Volume 2. And then this is when the underground knew it wouldn't luck. This was on purpose. And he had people like Chuck D, DJ Green Lantern, and others on his project. He'd end up calling out 9/11 conspiracies and government agendas. Some people labeled him a conspiracy theorist, and some people labeled him a prophet. And while the mainstream ignored him, his fan base exploded. He ended up being the first unsigned artist to ever get a hip-hop quota in the Source magazine. But by this point, it was clear Immortal Technique wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing awareness. His music could become mandatory in like activist circles and classrooms alike, and many more. In 2008, Technique would end up dropping The Third World. And this didn't just talk about politics, this funded change. He ended up donating all the profits to build an orphanage in Afghanistan through the OMID International. And he flew out there personally, met the children, and oversaw all the work. And this didn't need no label, no push, and no corporate logos. And that one move shocked the industry. This showed that he wasn't out here trying to buy change and be flashy and everything. He was building classrooms for the kids and stuff. This showed people that Immortal Technique wasn't just like an activist, he was living in it. And Technique's career has always been controversial, but not because he's reckless, because he refuses to filter the truth. He called out 9/11, the media labeled him a conspiracy rapper, but he said he wasn't trying to really claim no facts, he just wanted to let the people know to question the power, he said. He also made Peruvian Cocaine, a crazy storytelling track narrating the drug trade between the farmer, the CIA agent, and a drug dealer. And every verse was like a different perspective. Every line showed how the same system profits from both sides of the law. As years passed, Immortal Technique started showing up, but not in studios. He'd be on the front line. He'd end up being in Ferguson for the Mike Brown killing and in Baltimore for Freddie Gray. And as the world looked away, he was still there. But he was standing with the grassroots organizations and not celebrities. In 2023, the world would see him again. He was standing with the protests in Gaza. He would go on saying while others was making hashtags, he was out here marching with the whole movement. For over 2 decades, Immortal Technique has stayed 100% independent. No labels, no push, no sponsorships, just beats, bars, and integrity. And even while being underground, his music has reached millions. He showed that you do not need the mainstream push to show that you can change the world with your music. He turned bars into rap and anger into education. His voice is still heard today, and people still wonder about some of his music and some of his conspiracy theories that people saying that he has put out there. But even with all that, he got a whole legacy. If y'all like this video, y'all probably like my last video that I had did on Hobson, and like where he been at, man. But it been your boy Dizzy Vibes here on Vibe CTRL. Y'all can like, comment, subscribe so I can keep pushing in the algorithm. But I'm gone.